All right, guys, let's go through all of the major breaking news updates I have for you here. As you all know, last night, Israel launched a massive attack on the state of Iran. They bombed well over a dozen targets. In fact, last time I talked to you, there was only one round of bombing of about a dozen targets. Since then, they've done another wave of bombings. So, let me walk you through what happened. We learned that some of the people who were killed in the bombing raids were the military chief of staff for Iran, the commander of the Revolutionary Guard, secretary of the Supreme National Security Council, and nuclear scientists, including the top nuclear scientist. So we have Khomeini's right-hand man, so the Ayatollah's right-hand man, his chief of staff was killed. The nuclear scientists were killed, but then also the top negotiator with the United States was killed as well. That person's name is Ali Shamkhani. He's been killed. And this is effectively the fact that they launched the attack anyway is killing any hope of diplomacy whatsoever, because they don't want diplomacy, they want regime change. But specifically targeting the top negotiator is as clear as you can get that they have no interest whatsoever in peace. Now, what's been crazy is watching the media report on this, because there's all these headlines that talk about Israel goes after Iranians' nuclear facilities, which is partly true. They did go after Iran's nuclear facilities, but at the same time, they also did massive bombings in civilian areas of apartment buildings. So there's all these headlines, Israel bombs Iranian nuclear facilities, and then the picture for the articles is apartment buildings with civilians in it on fire. Okay, well, by the way, we also know, it's been verified now, that there are children who've been killed. Okay, at least 78 people killed. The exact percentage of which being like Iranian government officials, we don't know yet, but 78 people killed, 329 injured so far. So, one of the other things that's been catching my eye is that, God, I can't even tell you, it's been like hundreds of US politicians who are all doing this very bizarre, like, pray for Israel bit. They're all tweeting, pray for Israel, we stand with Israel, we love Israel, they're defending Western civilization. Every single politician who's out there saying, pray for Israel, at the same time, Israel launched an illegal and aggressive and offensive attack on a country that didn't attack them and wasn't going to attack them. All of them either have a thick-ass Mossad file on them, or, as Thomas Massie said, they all have their APAC handlers. And their APAC handlers send them the script when something like this happens, and they go out there like the little puppets they are, and they say what they're told to say. So it is very disturbing watching hundreds of politicians come out there and say, we stand with Israel, pray for Israel. Again, at the same time, Israel didn't get hit yet. It was Israel that launched an illegal and offensive and aggressive attack against Iran, and nobody's even bothering to pretend like, oh, what, Iran was about to launch an imminent attack on Israel? That's totally bogus. Everybody knows that's bogus. So they're praying for the oppressor. They're praying for the victimizer. Not a single person has said, pray for the innocent civilians in Iran. Nobody said that. It is so fucking dystopian and so Orwellian, man. It really just blows my mind. It's like we live in the fucking Twilight Zone when I see shit like this. All right, so I also have, listen to this. So there are reports that Israel conveyed the message to Iran that if they retaliate, the supreme leader, the Grand Ayatollah Khomeini, that he will be eliminated. So that's their warning of like, hey, we know where you are. We could kill you too. We just killed a bunch of top Revolutionary Guard people, top nuclear people. We can get your ass too, so don't even think of retaliating. Now, I should point out, last night, after the second wave of bombs from Israel, there were reports that Iran had launched 100 drones towards Israel. And that was according to an IDF spokesperson who said that. There were some videos on social media of these drones flying over Iraq, going to Israel. Now, having said that, this was last night that I saw this, and here I am in the morning. In fact, it's almost the afternoon now, and there have been zero updates on these drones. So it looks like they were shot down, or they never reached their destination. And that's the other thing, is it's very possible that Israel took out, like, you know, drone headquarters for Iran in their 2 waves of bombing strikes. So there's a real question here as to Iran's capacity to even respond. Okay, so even with that said, though, Israel's leaders, get this, are now hiding in tunnels and underground command centers embedded in civilian areas. So this is the same people who scream all the time about how their enemies use human shields. It is unambiguous that right now, Israeli leaders are using human shields by hiding in civilian population centers under the ground. All right, now, yesterday I told you guys, don't buy the bullshit. It's all kayfabe. It is a guarantee that Trump greenlit this attack from Netanyahu. Guaranteed. Now, I saw a lot of people going out there being incredibly naive, incredibly Pollyanna-ish, and buying it that, oh, Trump was like double-crossed by Netanyahu. No, he fucking wasn't. How many times have we been through this game with Biden, right? Where they're like, oh, Biden is actually really pissed off at Netanyahu. He might actually do something and cut off the weapons. Never was the case. They secretly agree. Well, we have some reporting from Axios. Here's what they say. 2 Israeli officials claimed to Axios that Trump and his aides were only pretending to oppose an Israeli attack in public and didn't express opposition in private. Quote, we had a clear U.S. green light, one claimed. The goal, they say, was to convince Iran that no attack was imminent and make sure Iranians on Israel's target list wouldn't move to new locations. Netanyahu's aides even briefed Israeli reporters that Trump had tried to put the brakes on an Israeli strike in a call on Monday, when in reality, the call dealt with coordination ahead of the attack, Israeli officials now say. Now, we knew this was the case. I knew this was the case. And one of the main reasons is, we reported the other day that the U.S. emptied our soldiers out of our bases in the region that were, you know, within the targeting distance of Iran. Why would you do that? You would only do that if you locked in the plans and it's set in stone that the U.S. has greenlit an Israeli strike on Iran. That's the only reason you would empty them out. You know, hey, there very well may be retaliatory strikes. Why? Because we know we're about to attack them. So, again, I need people to stop being so fucking naive and Pollyanna-ish and realize this is Donald Trump's war as much as it's Benjamin Netanyahu's war. And by the way, on that front, listen to this. Trump went on Fox News last night. He was asked about this. He said the following: the U.S. will, quote, defend itself and Israel if Iran retaliates. In other words, get ready to die for Israel, bitch. Are you an American soldier? Well, your boot's about to be on the ground in the Middle East yet again. This is what we're talking. I warned you. Every step of the way, I warned you. This guy is a massive warmonger. He's a massive imperialist. His first-term record proved that with all of his actions, including increasing drone strikes over 400%, bombing Syria multiple times, bombing Somalia, ripping up the Iran agreement, which directly led to where we are right now. If he just didn't fucking do anything, there's no problem. No problem whatsoever. In fact, even with him pulling out, there's still no problem because Iran was not building a nuke and they're no threat to anybody. We are the aggressors. The U.S. and Israel are the aggressors. It's not hard to figure out. But again, let me repeat it. Trump says, quote, the U.S. will defend itself and Israel if Iran retaliates. Wow. Remember all those memes? The pro-peace ticket. No new wars. Trump is anti-war. Again, I want my fucking apology forms from all of you MAGA idiots who debated me on this when I had every reason in the world to believe, based on evidence and based on history and his record, that he was going to be a warmonger. Okay, more. So, Trump also came out and said the following. This was on Truth Social. I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. I told them in the strongest of words to, quote, just do it. But no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, they just couldn't get it done. I told them it would be much worse than anything they know, anticipated, or were told. That the United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world by far, and that Israel has a lot of it, with much more to come. And they know how to use it. Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen. They are all dead, and it will only get worse. Okay, so understand something. We went from make America great again and America first to now he's saying shit like, quote, they are all dead now, and it will only get worse. Holy fucking shit. He continues. There has already been great death and destruction, and there's still time to make this slaughter with the next already planned attacks being even more brutal come to an end. Iran must make a deal before there is nothing left and save what was once known as the Iranian Empire. Iranian Empire? What the fuck is he talking from thousands of years ago? You mean the Persian Empire, you idiot? No more death, no more destruction. Just do it before it's too late. God bless you all. So this is, I mean, holy fucking shit. Did my brain explode when I read this. So let me get this straight. You guys launch a massive attack on Iran, carpet bomb their apartment buildings, attack their nuclear sites and their military sites, kill colossal numbers of people. And after that, you're like, let's make a deal. Let's make it. What fucking deal? You just punched him in the fucking face. What are you talking about? I mean, that's so crazy. That's like walking up to somebody at a bar, putting on some brass knuckles, clocking them in the jaw and breaking their jaw, and then when they get up off the ground, squaring up, ready to fight back, you go, why don't we just make a deal? Let's make a deal. Well, shit, maybe there was room for that conversation before you fucking broke the jaw. Oh my God, bro. Oh my God. Like, people are saying that it looks like Netanyahu recently convinced Trump that, oh no, bro, actually it'll be more likely that we'll get a deal if you let us carpet bomb the shit out of them and kill their top military officials and kill their civilians and bomb their apartment buildings. If we do that, then you're more likely to get a deal. And Trump, the fucking idiot, sure, I like that. It's peace through strength. Peace through strength. That's strength right there. Let's do that, and then I bet we get a deal. Like, are you fucking stupid? Holy shit. All right, and then, so guess what? Immediately showing how fucking idiotic the US is and Trump is, we get official word. Iran now says, we're not attending any more nuclear talks with the US. We are officially pulling out of any and all nuclear talks. We're done here. Because fucking of course. Oh my God. Oh my God. By the way, so CNN and a lot of mainstream media outlets, I'm not kidding about this, guess who they invited on to talk about this? Literally IDF official after IDF official. IDF spokespeople, propagandists, former intelligence assets. It's like wall-to-wall IDF people. So again, imagine a scenario where Saddam Hussein's Iraq launches an attack against Iran, which, by the way, that happened. And then in the wake of doing that, every mainstream media outlet only brings on Saddam Hussein lackeys and loyalists to tell their side of the story. So the people who are being aggressive, the people who are violating international law, let's bring on them and have them fucking cheerlead and rah-rah this brutality and this massacre. I mean, it's unbelievable how mainstream media has zero fucking credibility. You're gonna bring on IDF people as the IDF is launching a massively illegal attack against a country that didn't attack them and wasn't going to attack them. By the way, Israel has nukes. Israel has nukes. It's an open secret. Iran doesn't. So the country with the nukes in the Middle East is gonna attack one without nukes because they might get nukes, even though there's no evidence of that. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. All right, and then we get this update, y'all. Top Iranian general says Israel will face, quote, a huge and destructive response. He says, the gates of hell will soon be opened upon this child-killing regime. The gates of hell will soon be opened. So, again, I want to reiterate, we don't know at this point what Iran's capacity to respond is. Just how much did their military operational capacity get destroyed in this wave of bombings from Israel? We really don't know. But understand something, y'all. It is very possible that Iran has intelligence on where Israel has their nukes. And I could easily see a scenario where they launch a ballistic missile at Israeli nuclear sites. Or they say, fuck it, and launch a ballistic missile at Tel Aviv. Or do something, which is a colossal response. And in a scenario where Iran actually draws blood against the Israelis, then, and I hate to say this, but it's true, nuclear war is on the table. It is absolutely possible that Israel says, if they actually get hit and it actually draws blood, they say, fuck it, launch the nukes at Tehran. This is where we are, y'all. This is where we are. The same regime that's been on a child mass murder spree in Gaza, that same regime, they don't have the ability to reel it in. They don't have the ability to have cooler heads prevail and lean on logic and rationality and humanity and empathy. If there's an Iranian counterstrike that actually draws blood, nuclear war is absolutely on the table, because this regime is totally lawless and packed full of war criminals. And oh yeah, by the way, they're also fundamentalist religious and messianic, right? And that all these evangelical Christians think right now Jesus is going to come back to Israel on a winged horse. Like, that's what Mike Huckabee's fucking waiting for. Some end time shit. And they're doing everything they can to usher in this colossal war. They just started that war. So buckle up, because if Iran has the capacity, if they still have the ability to launch a real attack against Israel and draw blood, there is no telling what Israel will do next. There's no telling what the US will do next, right? By the way, I should also point out, you have Israeli officials who are tweeting things like "soon in Tehran," and it has a picture of Reza Pahlavi, the son. So for those of you who don't know, Reza Pahlavi was the I want to say king, but I guess he technically was a king, but he was really the dictator of Iran prior to the Islamic Revolution in 1979. Right? So he was an authoritarian leader. He was relatively secular, but make no mistake about it, he was very authoritarian. And so you've had secular right-wingers have wanted forever to get rid of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard and basically put the son of Reza Pahlavi as the king and the dictator of Iran and have him govern the country. And now you have Israeli officials coming out basically saying, like, this is our ultimate goal, is total regime change and bring in the son of the previous dictator to be the new dictator. Wow. And then finally, I have to point this out. As we're watching all of this unfold, and there's a lot of stories that I can't even, I can't talk about now because they're huge stories, but I got to focus on World War III potentially breaking out here, right? So we'll get to all the other stories on Monday. But the one more thing I wanted to point out about this is, at the same time this is happening with Iran, keep your eyes on Gaza and keep your eyes on the West Bank, because there's been a total internet blackout in Gaza. There's no telling what Israel is doing there now. I mean, they could really be ramping up the final solution right in front of our eyes, and nobody even really knows about it because there's no way of getting the word out. So do your best to keep your eyes on Gaza here and pay attention to what's happening there to the extent you can. But also, Dropsite News is reporting that Israel just imposed a total siege on the West Bank. So they're also moving on the West Bank as well. They're doing a genocide and an ethnic cleansing and trying to implement the final solution in Gaza, steal that land, reoccupy it, force whichever Gazans survive to go to Libya or somewhere else, right? They've been doing mission creep in the West Bank, where they also want to take over all the West Bank. Well, now they imposed a total siege, and it looks like, with the world being distracted by what's happening with Iran, they might move there too, right? So you have this rogue criminal regime. Think about what they're doing. They're bombing Lebanon. They're bombing Syria. They're bombing Gaza. They're going after the West Bank, and they just launched a massive attack against Iran, which, by the way, is a country of 90 million people. This is not peanuts we're talking about here. This is like real as a heart attack. This would, it's possible that what we're looking at might dwarf what the war in Iraq looked like, and we all know how horrible that was. So, holy shit. They're letting it all hang out, and it's all because Donald Trump effectively gave them the green light. Go right ahead, peace through strength, be as fascist as you want, be as Nazi as you want. And here we are, y'all. So I'll try to give you as many updates as I can over the weekend. Obviously, we'll have a giant show on Monday with a lot of stuff to talk about. And by the way, I should point out, we have a Crystal Kyle and Friends dropping today for the Substack members with Pisco. That was recorded before Israel launched this massive attack on Iran. So I just want everybody to know that, because we don't really talk about that topic in any amount of detail. It was recorded before that happened. But still, sign up below on Substack to see the conversation with Pisco. We talked about basically everything else that's going on, including Trump going full fascist and deploying the military to LA, and the Democratic response and the fascist police state military parade. So we got all that. Sign up below on Substack. Also, while I'm talking about it, just subscribe to the channel. That helps out massively and costs you nothing. Thank you to everybody who supports this show on Patreon. We literally could not do it without you. This is real independent media. Please consider supporting the show on Patreon. That link is below, or you could tip with that thanks button on YouTube. And go subscribe to Corin's World, where we're dropping Kyle and Corin podcasts over there. We're trying to get him to 100,000 subs. All right, guys, I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.